Today I am so excited to have as my guest Shelley Roy. Shelley is a Connecticut native, has lived in this area of the country her entire life. She is here to talk to us and shed some light on ALS. We always know it and refer to it as the Lou Gehrig disease. Also, Stephen Hawkins had it. So it's amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, sclerosis, which is a tongue twister and a mouthful to say. But here's Shelley, Shelley Roy. I'm so glad that you are here with us, Shelley. Thank you for coming and sharing your story because it's certainly one that we can learn from and be inspired. And what did you just say to me? We always need to laugh?
Yes.
Yes. We need to laugh because life can be tough, but you have been courageous and battling this disease that you've been affected by dramatically. Just in the last year, you were diagnosed.
It is, and I don't think even battle is the right word.
Okay.
Because it's a war I'll never win.
Well, right. And so you just kind of have to go with the flow or follow the water.
Do what I can while I can. That's been my motto.
I love that.
And ever since I was first diagnosed, I would say that. Mm-hmm. If I can volunteer, if I can garden, if I can go out to dinner, mm-hmm. I'm going to do what I can.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And I have to mention that you are a volunteer and a very active volunteer. My husband first met you at Care and Share, which is a food pantry distribution site that we have in East Lyme. And he just said to me, Kate, you have to meet Shelley. You have to meet Shelley. And then asked you if you'd be interested in being on the shows, telling your story and talking about it. Now, you told me you have quite a background, 39 years as an agriculture teacher, taught primarily in Ledyard schools, mm-hmm. and you did forestry, wildlife management, horticulture, and floriculture. Those are all mouthfuls today, my tongue's getting twisted. But so you're well-educated, retired ag teacher, and here you are with this disease.
A disease that knows no boundaries.
Oh.
It is more common in men under the age of 70, but after the age of 70, it's equal men and women.
Equal opportunity.
They have seen a little tendency toward athletes and military veterans who might have a slightly higher rate, but they really don't know what causes it. Essentially what happens is the nerves that control the muscles die. Mm-hmm. And as they die, the muscles atrophy. And there's nothing you can do about it because if the signals are not being sent, you could try exercising, it's just not going to work. In fact, in some cases, very vigorous exercise may be harmful.
Oh, sure, you have to be careful with that. Always the balance.
Right.
So it's described as a neurological disease, and it's also described as an orphan disease because we don't really know all that much about it. But you said the incidence of it is fairly high or not that high?
It's not very high at all.
Okay.
Worldwide, only about 6,000 people are diagnosed a year. That's the entire world. There are cases that don't get diagnosed. People who just take it, and of course, I'm old, this is what happens, and they don't want to see a doctor. But it took me a year and a half to get diagnosed.
Let's talk about that journey because you said when you first went to the doctor, they thought that maybe you had carpal tunnel. So they did surgery did they do surgery on your right hand or your left hand?
My right hand.
Because you're right-handed, but now your right hand is completely
useless
is what you want to,
yeah,
how you want to.
Did that and I saw a little improvement, but after 3 months, I was showing hand wasting. And the hand surgeon referred me to a neurosurgeon who sent me for MRIs. Did I have a stroke, a brain tumor, whatever?
They didn't know, right?
No, none of those.
Right.
He referred me to a neuromuscular specialist.
Okay.
And she diagnosed me as ALS. I had another test done, and it confirmed it. I'm now going to the hospital for special care in New Britain, because there I can see a doctor. I can also get all the therapies I need: speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. I can see a respiratory specialist, and I can see a social worker, a dietitian. Instead of here, because this is part of the Yale system, I'd have to have separate appointments. And since I no longer drive, I have to have somebody drive me everywhere. But this way, I go to New Britain once every 3 months. It's one trip. It may last 3 hours, but it's done.
But that's exhausting. That really takes a lot out of you when you go and do all of that. And the treatments are pretty much helping you maintain when you are in a stable state. Is that how I should understand it? You said that it kind of ebbs and flows, like it gets worse and then you...
Yeah, the disease reaches a plateau. This happens with many diseases. You hit a plateau and then you decline into the plateau. The medications I take may extend my life for a few months to a year. Two of the medications I take were what they called orphan drugs, because they're so specialized, and they were only approved by, the FDA because of the intense lobbying to get them, because especially after the FDA approved that first Alzheimer's drug. Like, you know, we got all of us who know what is going to happen. We're not going to be cured.
Right.
We're willing to try anything.
Well, to mitigate whatever it is, what your symptoms are, so that you can continue to live your life to the fullest, because your attitude is so positive, and we have to have people like you. And you know, you're such a lesson for all of us, as far as your courage and your tenacity to be able to continue to do what you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, volunteering. And you said ALS within your group always has another expression. It's not
always losing something, because you never know when you wake up in the morning what doesn't work.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So it's but I have to say my support group is very uplifting.
Good.
Everybody's been diagnosed long before me, but they're positive. It's a good place to learn about what's the best brand of walker.
Okay.
That's why I switched my care to New Britain.
Okay. Is that part of New Haven Healthcare?
No,
or it's completely
isolated.
Okay.
And it's the only certified ALS clinic in the state.
So it's worth the trip, absolutely. And
so I met the doctor. He seemed very nice. They were there. There's a cafeteria there, and oh boy, did it smell good.
Did it?
But they have all the facilities right there, and they do focus on neuromuscular diseases.
Do they try some treatments where there's electrical stimulation for some of your body parts that maybe are losing that nerve sensitivity, or is that not something that
I don't know about that, but there is the opportunity to participate in clinical studies.
Are you amenable to that, or?
Yes. You know, I think that as long as I think I would be concerned if I had to stop all my medications, and then maybe I would get a placebo. I think that might worry me. I have to do some real thinking, but many of the people in my support group do participate in.
And they don't know if they're getting the trial drug or the placebo.
Or it's a later trial, so they're getting one type of drug or another. But I think they find that ALS patients are truly amenable to this, because what do you have to lose?
Right.
And if what I can do will help somebody else.
Down the road, then you're paving the path forward for the
Right.
next person, which always feels good. Now, you said that you volunteer on Thursdays at the food pantry, Karen Share in East Lyme, and you said Thursday is Laugh Day. You want to talk to me about that? Why laughing is so important?
Laughing, we have a group of people from all over, mostly East Lyme.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as you get to know people, you talk, we joke with each other.
Sure.
Try to find the cans with the greatest expiration date.
Oh my goodness.
Make
yeah.
fun of each other a little bit. It's just, you're with a group of people who are like-minded,
Mm-hmm.
but really diverse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're just comfortable with each other. And when I stopped driving, one of the volunteers said, you can't miss out on the laughter.
Right. You have to that. Well, laughter, I think, is the best medicine. If there's anything that helps you to feel better and reduce how much pain you're having, it's having a good laugh.
Yeah, it is. And I've always been somebody who laughed a lot.
Oh, that's great.
I like to think that I had a positive attitude, but it's just to be around people who don't walk on eggshells around me.
Right, right. Well, you don't want to, right? So.
Yeah, I know that I can't do everything I used to do. In fact, a few weeks ago, I dropped a jar of pasta sauce.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That was a mess, right?
And my shoes, they're basically silver sneakers.
They turned red. You wanted a different
Oh my
color that day.
It looked like something that came from a crime scene.
Oh no.
So wipe everything up. I couldn't even clean up my own mess.
Right. No, probably not.
But a couple people did. We're all laughing about it.
Mm.
It was a store brand, and we all decided it smelled pretty darn good. And then somebody else had given me a ride.
Mm.
And when she was done with her shopping, she came back, and of course, all you can smell in her car is pasta sauce.
Oh, that's
She
funny.
said, "What brand's that? It smells so good."
That is so funny.
But
Yeah.
my shoes cleaned up in the washing machine, so no problem.
No problem with that. You just had to toss them in the machine with
Oh,
your
I
other
tell you,
things.
but you look at it and say, okay. The next time I went, my husband said, "Don't pick up any jars."
just give you the can duty, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
cans and paper bags.
Oh, there you go. You can handle that, so that's good. Now, you told me that there's really good support groups, and how do you meet? Is it by Zoom, or do you actually meet in person?
Apparently the groups used to meet in person before COVID.
Sure, right.
And what's happened is, by doing Zoom, they can get everybody around the state at once, instead of the social worker going here, and here, and whoever can show up can show up.
Right, right.
I like that particularly because I'm the only person in New London County who's participating.
Right, right, right. There are other people, though.
I'm sure there are.
Well, hopefully this show, you're speaking up about it, will get the word out that people can access that and then join the group. How many people show up for these Zoom calls?
It could be anywhere from 6 to a dozen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It all depends on what their schedules are, how they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found it so helpful.
Of course.
I think I told you before, just learning where to buy certain things or what brands are better than others.
Well, I mean, everything changes once you lose we've all sprained a wrist or an arm or a leg or something, so we know what it's like to not have full use of our appendages, right? But you've got your right arm and leg that are not as able as they once were. Is that how we'd say it?
Not functional.
Not functional. So you have learned to dress and wear different clothing, probably.
I can even write with my left hand.
And you were right-handed previously. How's your penmanship?
Terrible.
What would your second grade teacher, third grade teacher say?
Oh, probably would say it's not a whole lot better or worse. I always had terrible penmanship.
Oh, did you?
But because I was always in a rush.
Okay, okay.
But with my left hand, I can't print. But when my husband and I go grocery shopping, he's always looking and saying, what does this word say? Oh, that's lemons. How do you get lemons out of that?
Oh boy, oh boy.
So,
well, you should say, well, how do you get lemons out of lemonade?
Yeah, there we go. You know, sometimes I can't read what I've written.
I know.
So, but it's some days are better than others.
Of course. And what is it contingent upon? Is it how much exercise you've had, or how much stress, or the weather, or emotional state? What causes the variables? Do you have a sense of that?
No, which is really weird. It's like some people say when they have arthritis, oh, I can tell when a storm's coming.
Right.
You know, I broke a bone. I don't know when my knee aches. When
Right.
It just is random.
No indicators.
No.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if the little warning came up. Tomorrow, you will not be able to walk.
Right.
Tomorrow, your left thumb is going to stick in one place. So I'm still exercising my left hand and arm.
Oh, good. And that is a good thing to do. Like, you don't want to over-exercise is the other thing that you mentioned, because sometimes that causes more damage, further damage.
Do a little. If I'm in the house, I walk around on my own. I have what they call AFOs, ankle foot orthotics.
Oh, okay.
They're braces.
Okay.
And the right one has a spring in it to get my foot to come up.
Oh, it pops you up a little.
In fact, when the doctor demonstrated how it worked, he exaggerated. All I could think of was the Ministry of Silly Walks from Monty Python.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it keeps me, otherwise I'll stub my toe. With ALS, you have something called foot drop.
Okay.
And your foot will just clunk. You've probably seen it while I'm walking, when you hear it. But my toes will stick, they won't come up. But with the brace, it gets my toe up. Because if my toe sticks, the rest of me goes down.
Right. You might fall down, but you have the walker, and then do they tell you when you're doing your physical therapy to kind of keep your eyes up and focused so that you're not...
I haven't had any physical therapy since I got the new AFOs and I started using the rollator.
A what?
Rollator. This is what this is called.
Okay, so your walker's called a rollator, and that's the more advanced brand. That's like the Cadillac of...
Oh, yes, it's my Cadillac. In fact, I have a garage door opener I keep on there.
Oh, nice. Oh, really? That's funny.
If someone's picking me up, I sit in the garage, especially if it's raining.
Sure, yeah. Then you just wait there. But you said that not only was the support group helpful in finding things for you like your rollator, but also they helped you as far as getting a ramp to the front of your house, so accessibility. So
oh, yeah. The ALS Association of Connecticut. Now, apparently, what I learned from somebody, not all these state chapters are the same. But in Connecticut, they're awesome. And I asked for a referral to get a ramp. They referred me, somebody came down, did the measurements, they installed it within 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then I got the invoice that said, this is what it cost, your cost is zero.
Wow.
Because they took it, they get donations, it's a nonprofit, and they were able to pay for the entire thing.
Wow, that's lovely.
Oh, and you know, yes, we have to give back when we're done, but what are you going to use it for?
Right. Exactly. So you use it for a little bit, and you said that this actually belonged to somebody else, and it didn't quite fit him, so.
They're loaning it to me.
Yeah.
It's amazing what I've seen in people. They not only are generous with loaning me items, but they're generous with their time. I mean, you even came to pick me up today.
Right.
But I have people who will come from East Lyme to Salem, pick me up and bring me back.
That's really sweet.
It is, and I just never thought anybody would be like that.
Yeah. Well, you give people the opportunity, I think, to show goodness and to be good and generous, and they'll show up. They'll do the right thing.
Well, they don't. I think people want to help, but they don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do, quite frankly. So maybe these are some suggestions you could give to people. What other kind of help would other people, I know you're not going to ask for it personally, but what other kinds of things would people who are subjected to ALS, what could we do for them? What are ideas?
Well, I did have a couple people come and help me with gardening because I was bound and determined to have a garden. I won't next year, I've learned. But one of my brothers-in-law came down.
Nice.
And I have a friend I met through Karen Share.
Okay.
Who doesn't live too far. She came over, helped me do planting, deadheading.
Oh, nice.
Some weeding. She's been great.
Good.
But things like another friend has offered to do some sewing for me.
Nice.
And because getting in and out of my clothes is difficult with only one hand.
Right.
You ought to try it sometime.
I think that's a lesson that all of us should do. Like, just try to see what it would be like to not have, especially your dominant hand and arm. Right.
So I bought a skirt. It was way too big. And she's going to put some Velcro on the side so I can do easily. I can't do buttons. Zippers are kind of hard, but that will help. And she also offered to come help with food prep. Chop a whole bunch of onions and we'll put them in the freezer.
Oh, smart.
You know, doing that kind of thing. And at the time she offered, I thought, why won't I be able to do that? Well, because I can't.
Right.
So my husband has to do it. And again, he doesn't like gardening and he's not into food prep.
Okay. So you definitely, you need a dietitian or somebody, a food prep person. So helping with those kinds of activities of daily living have become a lot more of a struggle for you, and you need some help with that. Now, have they talked with you about speech therapy and some of the things down the road with that?
I will be going back to the hospital for special care in 2 weeks, and I will see a speech therapist that day. I'll be evaluated by a bunch of, PT, OT, speech therapy, dietitian, the work.
Well, eventually, are you going to not be able to use your mouth and teeth and tongue for eating and digesting your food?
Yes. Right now I can swallow, but some of the pills I take are quite large and they're uncoated. But I take them with Ensure, a protein drink.
Right.
So gives me the extra protein.
Right.
And it helps the pills go down.
Good. Yeah, everything is just like a whole nother level of...
Oh, yeah. Who knew this stuff?
Well, right. And I think that to some extent forewarned is forearmed. So if you get the opportunity to find out about it, so that if you have someone, a loved one, who is afflicted by this, then you can understand what the road is like and how to mitigate it.
Sure, even a stroke can do this to people.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of my best friends, actually the same age as me, her husband had a massive stroke and he lost use of his whole side of his body, and it's been just a learning experience down the road.
Yeah, it is. The difference is he might get better. Won't be 100%, and I won't.
Right.
At least I can write a little bit. I can still use my computer.
Good.
I'll look at some technology to help me do voice to text.
Oh, nice. Well, and I think that that's a really good thing, that the augmentative communication, that there are things that are being implemented and instituted on a regular basis. So push comes to shove, you're going to have some devices made available to you to augment your communications.
It is, because if you've ever used voice to text on your phone, you know it doesn't always repeat or type in what you're saying.
Exactly.
But imagine my speech doing that is even weirder.
Exactly. They have to understand who the communicator is and be able to decipher your message.
So we look at voice banking.
Oh, that's interesting. So you bank what your voice is saying.
And then they can use a computer to generate something that sounds many phrases and words that very much sound like your original voice.
That's really nice. That's nice.
I don't know how it works, but it's cool.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to your husband, because it sounds like he's been like a real huge trooper in all of this, and there's a support group for the I don't want to say survivors, but for
caretakers.
a caretaker support group. So tell me a little bit about that.
The ALS Association also runs some events and things for caregivers. In fact, every November, I think, is National Caregiver Month or something like that. And he was last year invited to a luncheon.
Nice.
And that's why he said, I'm not a caregiver. I said, sure you are. You're taking care of me, so you're a caregiver. No, he's just doing what he's doing. But he becomes my sous chef.
Oh, nice.
He's my gardener. He's toting me around everywhere.
That's really sweet. So thank you to him for all that he's done.
Oh, he's great.
Thank you for your voice of courage. Thank you for your independent thinking and for your positive attitude and, you know, calling ALS the always losing something. So we know that if we have people like you who are in the forefront of this, that it will get better, and maybe it won't be an orphan disease, but one that we will be adopting and finding some cures for. So
we can hope. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about it.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for continuing to volunteer. You know, here you are losing senses and strength in your appendages, but you're still out there smiling and giving. So thank you to you, Shelley. So beautiful. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.